Tonight, a routine flight ends in unimaginable tragedy over Washington, D.C. On a frozen January afternoon,
a powerful winter storm gripped the nation's capital, grounding flights and pushing aviation systems to their limits.
We begin with breaking news on the air disaster involving Air Florida Flight 90.
79 people boarded the aircraft.
A Boeing 737 prepared for departure, unaware of the deadly chain of events already in motion.
What followed would forever change aviation safety and the lives of everyone watching.
A powerful snowstorm swept across the eastern United States, paralyzing transportation systems. At Washington National Airport, runways were closed as snow continued to fall relentlessly.
Flights were delayed for hours, trapping passengers and crews inside an unfolding winter crisis.
Bill, we begin with breaking news regarding the escalating situation at the airports. Conditions are worsening. Dozens of aircraft.
As delays stretched on, invisible danger quietly formed along the wings.
We begin with breaking news regarding the devastating air disaster.
For most passengers, this was simply a
79 lives, each with stories, plans, and futures prepared for departure.
As boarding began, nothing seemed unusual, despite the storm outside.
Breaking news tonight, an airliner has crashed shortly after takeoff. We are getting initial reports. Inside, we are following breaking news regarding Air Florida Flight 90.
No one inside the cabin could see what danger was slowly forming outside.
In command of Flight 90 was Captain Larry Wheaton, a relatively young airline captain. Though experienced overall, his transition to jet aircraft had come only 2 years earlier.
Previous training evaluations had raised concerns about procedures and checklist discipline.
At one point, he had even been temporarily removed from flight duties following poor performance. On this frozen afternoon, every decision would carry enormous consequences. Seated beside the captain was First Officer Roger Pettit, a highly capable pilot. Pettit had previously flown advanced fighter aircraft in the United States Air Force.
Breaking news tonight, a tragic air disaster.
Despite his skill, his experience on commercial jetliners remained limited.
Like the captain, he had little exposure to severe winter flying conditions.
Skill alone would not be enough to overcome the conditions ahead.
The aircraft involved was a Boeing 737-200, a workhorse of its era.
Reporting live, a major air disaster has occurred.
Designed for short and medium-range routes, it was widely used across the United States.
We begin tonight with breaking news regarding the crash of Air Florida Flight 90.
The aircraft was fully capable of operating safely.
Yet in freezing conditions, danger could exist even when the aircraft appeared normal. Even the strongest aircraft depends on human decisions to remain safe. To combat ice, aircraft are treated with heated de-icing fluid before departure. The hot fluid removes ice and delays new accumulation for a limited time.
Once applied, de-icing fluid remains effective only within a strict time window.
We begin with breaking news tonight on the air disaster. Even a thin layer of ice can completely disrupt airflow and reduce lift.
As time passed, ice began forming once again, silently and unseen.
As runways reopened, dozens of aircraft competed for limited departure slots.
We have breaking news regarding Air Florida Flight 90.
Inside the cockpit, minutes stretched into nearly an hour.
With each passing minute, the effectiveness of de-icing fluid faded. Air traffic controllers faced enormous pressure to clear congestion quickly. Under pressure, caution can slowly give way to urgency.
As pushback began, the tug struggled for traction on the icy ramp. In an attempt to help, the captain made a decision outside normal procedures. The engines blasted snow and slush forward, toward the wings and engines.
Melted snow quickly refroze, forming solid ice on critical surfaces.
The most dangerous effects went completely unnoticed by the crew. As engines started, the crew moved on to the after-start checklist. Hydraulics, set. Flight controls, check. Years of flying in warm climates had created dangerous habits. In freezing conditions, the anti-ice system remained turned off. We have breaking news regarding the Air Florida disaster.
Without anti-ice, engine sensors slowly froze, feeding false data to the cockpit.
This is a breaking news special report. Air Florida Flight 90 is missing.
The most dangerous mistakes are often the ones that make no sound at all. With engines running, Flight 90 began its slow taxi toward the runway.
Looks pretty nasty out there, huh?
Yeah, glad we're up here. Almost Miller time.
Despite the storm, the cockpit atmosphere remained relaxed. Even the cabin crew expressed amazement at the snowfall, unaware of the danger. Outside the cockpit, ice continued to accumulate, quietly and relentlessly.
Nothing in the cockpit suggested how close the aircraft was to disaster.
As the aircraft taxied, the captain looked back at the wing. Breaking news tonight regarding Air Florida Flight 90. A thin layer of snow was clearly visible along the wing. The crew believed the snow would simply blow away during takeoff. The disaster highlights a critical misunderstanding.
But ice behaves very differently, and ice was already forming.
Breaking news now on the air disaster. Beneath the snow, a far more dangerous threat was already taking hold. We have breaking news regarding an air disaster.
As Flight 90 waited, a DC-9 sat just ahead in the departure line.
Believing it might help, the captain moved closer to the aircraft ahead. The hot exhaust melted snow into water across the wing surfaces.
In sub-zero temperatures, that water froze instantly, forming hard, invisible ice. As they prepared for takeoff, the crew reviewed their engine instruments.
We begin with breaking news regarding Air Florida 90.
One engine displayed a lower pressure ratio than the other.
The crew assumed the readings were distorted by airflow from the aircraft ahead.
In reality, ice had blocked the sensors measuring engine performance.
We interrupt this program for breaking news on an aviation emergency.
The instruments now appeared correct, while the engines were producing far less thrust.
Flight 90 reached the runway threshold at last. Controllers were under intense pressure to keep aircraft moving.
Flight 90 was instructed to depart immediately.
Another jet was already on approach behind them.
At that moment, turning back felt more dangerous than moving forward. The first officer advanced the throttles for takeoff.
The instruments showed unusually high power readings. Believing the engines were overpowered, thrust was reduced. The aircraft accelerated, but far more slowly than expected.
Every warning sign was present, yet the takeoff continued. The aircraft crept toward decision speed.
The captain called out 120 knots.
The first officer sensed something was terribly wrong.
There are escalating concerns tonight regarding Air Florida Flight 90 as the situation appears irreversible.
But no one called for the takeoff to be rejected.
With no way left to stop, the aircraft lifted from the runway.
The aircraft lifted into the air, but only just.
Ice on the wings caused the aircraft to pitch up violently.
The stall warning system activated immediately.
The crew struggled desperately to regain airspeed.
The aircraft could not climb beyond a few hundred feet.
Breaking news tonight, a tragedy unfolding in the skies above Washington, D.C.
Unable to climb, the aircraft began sinking toward the city below.
Breaking news. Authorities are tracking a plane on an apparent collision course with the city.
Directly ahead stood the 14th Street Bridge. The aircraft slammed into the bridge at full speed.
Moments later, the wreckage disappeared into the freezing Potomac River.
In seconds, everything went silent.
We are following breaking news tonight. A plane has crashed into the icy river.
Rescue crews rushed to the scene, battling freezing water and time.
Ordinary citizens performed extraordinary acts of courage.
Investigators worked to understand how so many small failures aligned.
The Norvitalics.
The tragedy reshaped winter aviation safety forever.
Their loss ensured that countless lives would be saved in the future.